Hey there, Maricopa. This is Maria Poor. I am one of the Cultural Affairs and Arts Committee members for the City of Maricopa. And here today we have one of our local artists creating one of the beautiful signal box portraits. I'm here today with artist Veronica Lichtenstein, who created this beautiful mural. Veronica, what does this represent for you?
This is, when I was thinking about Maricopa and the kind of box I would want to paint, I just started to think about what's one of the main activities that people in my neighborhood do. And me and my daughter go bike riding all the time, especially around Halloween and Christmas time, to look at all the displays and to enjoy the weather during that season. So I wanted to make a mural of a joyful bike ride, and that's what it is. It's a blissful joyride. This is part of our Super Bloom, and this is actually this street on Honeycutt, which was just like a month ago, was all blown up with these yellow trees and the green pieces out there. So it's just one of my favorites because it reminds me of the amount of fun times we had together going bike riding every night.
And this piece directly represents you and your family life and your family together. Describe that for us.
Absolutely. We love going on bike rides and going around the neighborhoods. We love getting picnics. We'll pick up Chipotle and then we'll just, find a spot under a tree and just hang out. And it's one of those things where she'll want to do it every night and she gets to talk about the end of her day and open up, and it's just a really fun event for us to do. And I think as I've been doing this piece and bike riders have come by, it's been fun to see families together see this and feel like they're being captured from Maricopa.
What does it mean to you to have this gorgeous public artwork up in your city?
Just the world. I'm so excited. I'm excited to have seeing the 9 other pieces that are going to be out there, just to see what everybody has and everybody's unique fingerprint and art, and seeing what they're going to come up with. I'm just excited to see more of this throughout the city because I think it just really brings out the community to life.
It does. Thank you so much for being a part of our public art initiative here in the city of Maricopa. Thank you so much for gifting our community with your talents. It's beautiful and something that people can really enjoy and last a really long time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for your work.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Welcome back to the program where the questions are answers and the answers don't stop. It's Maricopa's favorite game show, Permit or Not. I'm your host, Luis Vila, and I'd like to remind our viewers today that if you have any questions regarding any of the categories today, please leave them in the comments below. Now let's take a look at the board. The categories today are city services, do I need a permit for that? What's being developed? City events, library,
Thank you. I really love all of the relationships that are being built out there. It's so exciting. We are going to call this evening to order with the first special city council meeting on June 4th, 2024, and we'll go with a roll call. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Wade? Here. Councilmember Marsh?
Here.
Councilmember Manfredi?
Here.
Councilmember Knorr?
Here.
Councilmember Gettle?
Present.
Vice Mayor Learman?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. So that'll move us immediately into the regular agenda and public hearings. And at this time, there's one agenda item, item 3.1, which is Resolution 24-21, the approval of the budget. And I will ask Matt to come forward. There you are. Thank you.
Mayor Smith, members of council, this is just the final adoption of the budget as presented last month at the May 7th council meeting. There are no budget changes. Everything is as presented a month ago, and this is just the final step in the process per state statute to get everything done. So I have nothing else to say. All key deadlines are in front of you. If I can answer any questions, please just let me know.
Thank you. So this is also an open public hearing. I don't have any speaker cards. Oh, sorry. My voice is so loud, I always think it's transmitting. I don't have any speaker cards. It is an open hearing, public hearing, so I will open the public hearing. If you are here to speak on the budget, I ask you to move forward. And seeing none, I'll close that public hearing, and I'll move to the council members. Yes, Councilmember Manfredi.
I was going to do it, but I didn't. Matt, question for you. Can you tell me about the property tax rates, the primary property tax rates?
Yes, and the final adoption of the property taxes will take place at the June 18th council meeting, but those are being reduced by 21 basis points from 3.8, I'm sorry, I don't remember them off the top of my head, but it was 21 basis points, 387 to 366 or something like that.
So if it's correct, property tax rates are going down again for the 6th year in a row?
That is correct.
Oh, that's good. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Councilmember Manfredi, anyone in addition to that with comments, questions? Seeing none, do I have a motion? So moved by Councilmember Wade. Do I have a second? Second by Councilmember Manfredi. Any additional questions, comments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And that motion carries. And that brings us to the end of this special agenda. We'll now move into the regular agenda. So this is the regular agenda for City Council, meeting June 4th, 2024. And what I'd like to do is invite Pastor Gary Williams of Journey United Methodist Fellowship to come and give us an invocation, and then followed by Councilmember Knorr for the pledge. Please rise if you're able.
Holy One, Spirit of life, love, community, and justice, we ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead this community in which we live, work, and play, and all those who support them. Help them as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this? But what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? To whom do we need to listen? Grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May they and we speak out when it's time to speak out, and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May they and we always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, all that we hold good and right and true. May it be so.
Amen. All right, thank you, Pastor Williams, and thank you, Councilmember Noor. That'll take us to roll call for the regular agenda.
Councilmember Wade? Here. Councilmember Marsh?
Here.
Councilmember Manfredi?
Here.
Councilmember Noor?
Here.
Councilmember Gettle?
You're present.
Vice Mayor Learman?
Here.
Mayor Smith?
Here?
We have a quorum.
Thank you very much. We have no proclamations, acknowledgements, awards, and presentations this evening, so that'll take us to the report from the mayor and council members. Anyone like to share anything? Okay, Councilmember Marsh.
We've had a busy couple of weeks since the last council meeting. On June 22nd, May 22nd, we had a province candidate forum. Quite an audience, lively questions, and all of us showed up, all of us who are running for office again this year. I want to thank Bill Robertson for pulling that together. That was a good job. On the 23rd, the Pinal County Board of Adjustment and Appeals met, and we did several blanket variances, fixing a big mistake that Pinal County did in 1972. And we're on our way to save a lot of people a lot of money. On the 24th, Pinal Partnership presented a session on mining operations in Pinal County. Copper is very important for the future of our county and our country. And we have a lot of copper in Pinal County. On Memorial Day, the 27th, we had a flag raising at the Veterans Center with the mayor and other council members. It was a real moving experience. On the 28th, I met with Ben Bitter and Jen Brown and the mayor to go over the finalizing of the charter for the Senior Advisory Council for fiscal year 24-25. That'll be presented and discussed in the June 17th Senior Advisory Committee meeting. And I want to remind everybody that on the 21st of June, at the Lunch and Learn, the speaker is our own mayor, Nancy Smith. That's Friday, 6/21, 11 to 12:30 in the community center. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Marsh. Councilmember Noor.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to quickly talk about, I was able to attend the Maricopa High School graduation and present diplomas to the students, and that was the last time we will have just one district graduation, which is a sign, obviously, of the growth of the city. Next year, Desert Sunrise will have its own graduating class, but it was great to be there for the last single graduation for Maricopa. And then I was also able to attend the Maricopa Chamber Awards dinner this past Saturday, where our own Brenda Campbell received an award, and also a lot of local businesses and nonprofits who do a lot of great work in the city. So it was great to be there and to recognize them for their efforts.
Thank you very much. Councilmember, let's see, we'll go with Wade.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Mix it up.
Madam Mayor, I just have a couple of things to share. But one of the things I want to share that was a small blip on our screen, but I think it's going to make a significant change, and that is the organizers of the Debutants program, which will contribute to the social and other aspects of young people and some of the things that they're going to learn through that program. I think that you'll start to hear more about it here. I don't want to give any inaccurate information, but I want it to be on your radar to know that that program is existing and that it is going to be doing some really nice things for our youth. The other thing is we had participated in an organization called Arizona Coalition for Change, and it is a primarily get out to vote effort, but it is also an effort to provide some jobs for young people and also for adults. And so there's going to be more. Again, you'll hear more about that as it goes along. The event was held last Thursday night, and it was a packed house at Honeycut Coffee, absolutely packed. Live entertainment, some light jazz entertainment. But I think that you're going to hear much more about that organization as it goes along. I apologize for my voice. It's a COVID carryover, so I feel sometimes like I'm kind of not communicating with you, but anyway, that program was well done, well conducted, and again, I think you're going to hear more about that as it goes along. I too had an opportunity to attend the Chamber of Commerce Gala. I thought it was done very well. The awards were, from my perspective of the people that I've seen and had interchanges with in the community, the awards were right on point. You know, sometimes we don't believe that an organization is capable of recognizing members of this organization itself, and perhaps sometimes it's conceived that they're just the special people who get the awards, the people who do certain things. Well, that's right. It is the special people who get the awards, the people who step outside of themselves and provide entertainment to the community, provide social services to the community. And from my perspective of the people who were awarded on Saturday night, it was really the special people. So it was nice to attend, and I expect to see more from others. Sorry, ma'am.
Thank you. That's all right. Councilmember Wade, thank you. Councilmember Gettle.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. So this last week on the 30th, I had an opportunity in connection with the Community Coalition Group, which I organized about a year ago, to meet around 3 important community issues that have been brought to this group. And one of them was on our feral cat population here in Maricopa. The second one was our teen center, and then the third, of course, is a little bit of our homeless challenge, our unhoused challenge here in Maricopa. And so just to report, we had some really great discussions in developing some partnerships and help bringing some more resources to these 3 challenges. And anybody that's part of a nonprofit or a faith-based organization, if you'd like to participate in that conversation, our next large community coalition meeting will happen in July 25th. And we're just looking for more partners to come to the table to talk about some real solutions and to bring some resources to the table. So just a quick update that the conversation is ongoing, and we're excited to see some things start to actually take fruit and help address some of these issues in our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Gettle. All right, last chance. All right. Oh, yes, Councilmember Wade.
I'm sorry, I have one other thing. I just want to recognize, pay homage and recognize that this is the beginning of LGBTQ month, and so I just wanted to recognize and acknowledge that at this time.
Thank you very much. So my last couple weeks have been fun. I always consider them fun when I'm out serving the community. We had a MAG, Maricopa Association of Governments, Regional Council, and this is a group of mostly mayors that come together for the Maricopa Association of Governments to talk about really important things such as air quality, roads. It's a really great combination of a lot of different topics. But this time I took 3 guests. 2 guests were city council member interviewers that wanted to know more about how the city operates. What do all these meetings that you talk about, what do you really cover? They wanted to go. And then a Maricopa Citizen Leadership Academy graduate, Betty McGee, and the other 2 were Adam Leach and Sharon Walker. They all wanted to go, and they were actually very fascinated with the whole process, and I loved their questions. I love their questions going to the event, and I love their questions and suggestions, which I provided to the city manager, coming away from the meeting. And so they found it very exhilarating, and that just tickled my heart, that they're that much more informed. I also attended the Memorial Day flag raising. This, I have to tell you, every time I go, this is a bigger and bigger crowd. But what's more impressive this year is I saw parents bringing their young kids to the event to see this ceremony and understand exactly what Memorial Day is all about. So that was extremely impressive. And hey, anytime you go to an event and there's bagpipes, I love bagpipes. I mean, how can you just not feel totally majestic? You know, it's pretty cool. They did a great job. And then myself and Katie Proctor, who's our intergov for all governments within the city of Maricopa and works with city council on many things. She and I met with the ADOT director, Jennifer Toth, and her staff to establish what I consider to be a very important meeting. Our question going in is, how do all the partners understand the sequencing of what's going to happen on 347? You know, we have the Casablanca intersection, we have the Ridge Road intersection, we have the I-10 at the overpass onto I-10 that they're going to expand. How do we communicate? Because we have partners, Maricopa Association of Governments, Pinal County, Maricopa County, ADOT, state legislators, and the city of Maricopa. How do we keep them all appraised of what's going to happen in the sequencing of things? And so they agreed with us that we needed to start off with quarterly meetings, so I'm very excited about that because it keeps all of those partners on the same page. And then at the same time, we talked about the traffic accidents over the last month and how do we do a better job managing that aspect of it. And interestingly enough, our idea going in was to do some PSAs, because if you remember from the traffic study that ADOT did, the major problem on 347, yes, it's crowded in the rush hours, but the major problem is driver behavior. And so how do we get an impact on driver behavior? Well, they found during the study that most accidents are rear-end collisions. They're on their phone, they're not paying attention. And so how do we have make a change on that? And we came up with the idea of PSAs, but the cool part is Director Toth talked about combining that with another DPS 6-month stint on 347, putting a focus there. So we'll be looking at that, both of those elements, in the July-August timeframe. And I'm so happy to hear that they're willing to partner with us on both of those aspects. And, you know, I don't know what it takes to change driver behavior other than continuing to talk about it and educate people. And that's, you know, something that we can work hard at doing. So I thought it was a really profitable meeting, and I thank Katie for attending it as well. Katie understands all things transportation. It's pretty amazing. So I appreciate it when she goes, and I embarrass her every time. And then I did attend the Maricopa Chamber of Commerce award ceremony. Congratulations to all the winners. I agree. They did seem like good businesses within our city, good volunteers within our city who won these awards. But it was such a delightful event. I think it might have been my favorite event of a lot of events over the last few years, because we didn't have to get all decked out. We wore Hawaiian clothes and chilled with, you know, in our Hawaiian clothes, and the women looked beautiful, beautiful colors. It was just, and so much networking, which is so important to our city. So that was really delightful. And that ends my mayor report. How about the city manager report?
Nothing tonight, thanks.
Okay, very good, thank you. So that'll take us to the call to the public. Let me read you a little bit about how the call to the public works. The procedures to follow if you address the council are: council requests that you express your ideas in 3 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks or derogatory statements about any city employee, a fellow citizen, or anyone, whether in the audience or not. The mayor may limit discussion whenever they deem such an action appropriate to the proper conduct of the meeting. At the conclusion of an open call to the public, individual members of council may respond to criticism made by those who have addressed the council, may ask staff to review a matter, or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda item. However, members of the council shall not discuss or take legal action on any matters during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly notified for discussion and legal action. And I just want to remind you, when you come to the podium, you are speaking to the council. I know there's oftentimes the temptation to look to the crowd, but we want to speak to the council because that's why you're here. So I have 4 speaker cards. The first is Miss Peg Chapados.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm here tonight to share 2 great things that happened. First one is I'm proud to announce that the 4th annual Maricopa Main Street Marketplace is open. We are accepting applications of our artisans. It'll be Saturday, November 30th at Leading Edge Academy from 10 to 2. It's handmade and homemade arts and crafts items. Last year we sold out in October. So if you want more information or an application, you can follow us on Facebook or you can get a hold of me. The other thing I'm here tonight to share with you is something significant happened today in Maricopa. And there's two ladies here that we couldn't do it without. So Lynn Bernier and Helen Smith are two of the reasons why Maricopa is one of the safest cities in the state. They are our lockbox coordinators, respectively, for province and the rest of the city. Today, we did number 600.
Wow.
So I want to thank Maricopa Fire and Medical, the Fire Corps, the Yana Volunteers, Maricopa PD, and everybody at Maricopa Seniors that helps make this happen. It's something that's been very effective. Our fire department loves it. We save time and money when first responders need to get into a house quickly. It takes seconds, and it saves hundreds. So I wanted to share that with all of you. I was here 2 years ago to do number 500, and within 2 short years, we did another 100, and we're still growing. So thanks, Maricopa, for supporting that program. Thank you.
Very good. And thank you, ladies. It takes awesome volunteers like you to make something successful like that. Thank you very much. Next is Kent Ojon.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council. I'd like to make an announcement of the update on the BMCC. We are presently at 100 members. And I would also like to invite, thank you. I would also like to invite each of you to 2 upcoming Juneteenth events. One event is being sponsored by Miss Joanna Vanderpool on 15 June 2024 at the Maricopa Library in rooms Redwood A and B. That's going to be on Saturday from 1 to 3 p.m. The second event is being sponsored by Kingdom Weddings, Legacies, and Events. That's going to be on Saturday, the 22nd of June at the CAC, I'm sorry, Central Arizona College. And that's going to be from 2 to 7 p.m. So I invite all of you to attend and support. Those events are also being co-sponsored by the Black Chamber. Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you very much. Our next speaker is Matthew Gallagher.
Good evening. My name is Matthew Gallagher, and along with my wife, Tara, we operate Field Division Academy, a micro school right here in Maricopa. We are one of 40-plus micro schools operating within the city today. So what is a micro school? Well, if you look on the Arizona Board of Education website, you won't find a definition, and that's part of the problem. The most commonly accepted definition of a micro school is outsourced homeschooling. On April 23rd, Field Division Academy was served with a notice of violation and asked to obtain a zoning permit from the city to continue to operate our micro school. Failure to do so would result in a $1,000 a day fine. My wife and I first met with Derek Schurer from the Development Services Department, and then we were asked to come in and meet with a team from the city of Maricopa. What we learned from this meeting is, 1, the city doesn't know what a micro school is, and 2, because they do not know what a micro school is, they do not know how to regulate it. And here is the problem. With nothing to go off of, the city classified our micro school as a traditional school. That means any more than 5 students would trigger an insurmountable list of requirements that no micro school can meet. This includes his and her ADA accessible bathrooms and parking, as well as additional fire safety measures. No micro school can meet that. Now, I honestly believe the individuals we met with want to help us. We looked at changing the verbiage. What if we were not a school but a tutoring center? Or what if we were facilitators? Or what if we were a church? The problem they have is there is no other category in the city ordinance or building codes that allow them to help us. And we are that other category. What this has done is forced us to find a spot to operate next year. Do you know of any available spaces to rent in Maricopa? And if you do, could a micro school afford it? Tonight, I am asking my city leaders to understand the value of micro schools that offer to the community and act decisively with a mayoral task force to help with this problem. My fear is failure to do so will result in other micro schools feeling the pain that we are in right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gallagher. Our next speaker is Tara Gallagher.
If you are here in support of micro schools, please stand. My husband just spoke for all micro schools. I want to talk specifically about my micro school. Imagine going to work every day and being asked to do things that you're incapable of doing. Imagine quitting isn't an option. How helpless, anxious, and depressed would you become? What behaviors, addictions, and choices would you make to deal with such a predicament? This is the reality for the students to which we cater. Field Division is run by 2 state-certified fingerprint clearance educators specializing in dyslexia with over 20 years of experience. We service the students who are academically disadvantaged, like your 6th grader who reads at a 2nd grade level, or a 4th grader who still doesn't know their full alphabet. Many of them don't have an IEP. These students have been overlooked by the traditional education model. They find a home with us. We approach education differently. We meet students at their academic mastery level instead of the grade the state dictates by age. Grades are based on growth, with small incremental steps celebrated. I wish you could see the smiles on these kids' faces when they master a new skill, many of whom are tasting success for the first time. It's contagious, and students feed off of one another's successes. The result is they become more confident, self-propelled learners. 90% of our students grow multiple grade levels in both reading and math in a single year. This philosophy will not change due to the environment where we operate. However, it is imperative to understand what students gain from our home environment and what they are now losing. Gone is the flexible seating my students have, couches, yoga balls, and tables rather than desks. Gone are the 2 separate learning environments as they will now be put into one large classroom. Gone is the fully functioning kitchen where they had culinary lessons. Gone are the inspirational posters and learning aids on the walls around them that allow them to track their progress. Gone are the animals that gave them much needed affection whenever they desired. Gone are the abundance of games in the class library. Gone is their ability to swim on a hot day, play basketball on our half court, or use our batting cage to practice baseball or softball. These are all of the things we can't carry in and out every single day to the very limited, affordable places in Maricopa available to rent. Field Division Academy offers a valuable service to the community. When students gain confidence and experience success, they make better life choices, helping them to avoid drugs, alcohol, violence, and even suicide. My fear is that what happened to my micro school will happen to all micro schools larger than 5 students, and gone will be a much-needed service in our community. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mrs. Gallagher. I know that we started the dialogue amongst council members today, knowing that your group was coming forward. We wanted to know more, have more information. I'm glad that you all are here. And I think the solution, I know I'm pro school choice, so many of us are. And so it's important to find a solution, and I know that you've been working with a team, and that I'm going to point you tonight, if you have questions on how to move that conversation forward, if you'll meet with Chief Goodman, that will be a great opportunity for you. And so let's continue the conversation. All right, thank you very much. So that's all the speaker cards that I have. If you would like to come forward to the podium during the call to the public, we would appreciate you coming and give us your name. It's a race, yeah.
It's a lot of races going on. Good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Kenneth Golacki. I would like to say I know a lot of things is going on as far as the races and everything, but I know there's a short summer break right now, and so I know the education department is doing something for like breakfast and lunch. So I just want something for like the city to get involved. I know a lot of people are working from home, so it is harder to go to 3 or 4 schools. So why not we make it to the parks? You know, have parents can walk to the major parks instead of making it to the schools. And I also know that Auction is doing something for the movies, so I just want to see if the city can also help out as well. That's it.
Thank you very much. Hello, Jim.
Hello, Mayor, City Council. I will do this in 3 minutes or less.
Okay.
Okay. My name is Jim DiVenezia. I'm the Community Support Specialist with the Police Department. And I just want to report about a very exciting event that we had on May 18th. But first, a little history. It was about 9 years ago that in this very room that the Community Programs Manager, Mary Witkowski, met with City Council to talk about a You Are Not Alone program. Peg Chapados was also in the room, and Mayor, if you were too. Yep. From that meeting, or from that time, back in, I guess, the summer of 2015, the YANA program started in September of 2015, and to this day, we have 11 volunteers right now that are making phone calls Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, home visits, quarterly trips to home visits to the homes, gifts. And it was a couple of months ago that some of the volunteers came up to me and said, let's have an event, let's have a luncheon for our seniors, our participants. I really didn't know how this was going to go. We talked about going out and getting gift baskets from different organizations, businesses. So I said, let's go for it. And it ended up being that we collected, Exceptional Hospital also, 41 gift baskets by 19 businesses, nonprofits, community groups, including Auction, Art Mobile, Batteries Plus, BOSA, Fast and Friendly Car Wash. So many different organizations that said, yes, we'll donate baskets, we'll give it out, we'll give it for raffle presents. And these are, for the YANA participants, for those who don't know, many of them are alone, many of them don't have supports in the city and rely on phone calls and home visits from our volunteers. We had a total of 21 YANA participants come to the luncheon over at the community center, 5 guests, 2 MPD cadets, Mary Witkowski and Peg Chapados both attended the luncheon, and Nick Brooks from the city wrapped it all up by getting sponsorship and food and everything else. But I want to thank the City Council for something that started almost 9 years ago to what it is now and is continuing. So thank you, everyone. Thank you for all the support for YANA.
Very good. Thank you, Jim. Hello and welcome. Just give us your name.
My name is Heaven Meacham, and I know you've already pointed them in the direction of where they can go, but I am here in support of the micro schools. My student is a student at the Field Division Academy, and I just feel pressed upon to share our experience. Our son was at Desert Winds Middle School we came from Utah, and he moved in to middle school right away a year earlier than expected because of the move. And we came from the minority, or we came from where white was the majority. There was not a large minority-based group. And unfortunately, the school that he went to had a group of minority students who did not like white individuals and targeted him for being white, and that was a very new experience for him. We moved, thank you so much. We moved to Arizona to get a diversity experience. We wanted to experience that in all sorts of things. That's why we chose to come to Arizona. But unfortunately, his introduction to diversity was a little bit of a rude awakening. It could have been anything. He could have been picked on for anything. He's short, he's skinny. It could have been anything. I'm not saying race was necessarily the issue, but unfortunately, he was targeted and bullied by this little group of individuals, and it got to the point that he was suicidal. We went to the school, we went to the student counselors. They were supposed to be checking in. We notified all of his teachers, and nothing was done. We worked pretty closely with the school for a while, and he only got further suicidal. We pulled him out thinking we were going to have to homeschool, and I, the ADHD and autistic individual who can't control my own day-to-day routines, would somehow have to manage his school, and we were going to train wreck together. But luckily we found the micro school, and like they said, it was an outsourced homeschool opportunity. Our son went from us thinking we would have to inpatient him to just a change in school setting, just teachers who cared about him, and all of a sudden he's a new kid. And he is confident, and he is making friends, and no longer is race an issue, and no longer is all those little things that first coming into a new culture an issue. But he is learning and growing and accepting all of those changes, and that would not have been possible without these individuals and without that homeschool outside of home. And so I just wanted to share that experience because I never have to worry about him hurting himself anymore. So,
excellent. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
How you doing to the City Council?
Great.
My name is Cedric.
Thank
I'm a
you.
resident of Maricopa. I just want to see how can I heard that this is my second meeting, so thank you for having me. My pastor, Bishop, raise your hand. We have a ministry called Blaze Ministry, so I'm trying to see what can we do to have different pastors pray before the council meeting. So this is my second time, so what steps or who I need to talk to. I would love to have my bishop from Blaze Ministry start praying sometimes. I see different other pastors praying, so what steps do I need to take to have different diversities pray before our city council?
Absolutely. Just contact myself. My email and my phone number are on the website, or my assistant, our assistant, Marlene Pierce, and she'll put you on the schedule. We'd
All
love
right.
to have you.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
Hi.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and City Council. My name is Ocean Kenton. I'm the founder of Ocean Industries, and what we focus on is diversity, equity, inclusion, not only in the home and corporate America, as well as the school districts. We also focus on mental health and impact engagement speaking. But our organization's corporate service responsibilities are mental health, seniors, and youth. I had an opportunity to meet with one of the council women, which is not council members, but Vice Mayor, I got it. Vice Mayor, and I had an opportunity to share with her some of the ideals that we'd like to bring to Maricopa. And one is our seniors. And what I found is sometimes seniors get lost in the technology transition. I mean, today it's iPhone 75. Who has the iPhone 75? Well, trust me, it's coming, and I still have the 12 and thought it was the 15. My kids let me know that I wasn't. What we'd like to do, what my organization would like to do is Amber actually gave me some resources so that we could put together a senior one-on-one technology class where we're going to start out just general, and we're going to talk, how do you turn on your computer? I'm going to look out there. How many of y'all know how to really turn on? How do you operate your cell phone? Who do you call when it's off? I think right now, if we don't get our seniors involved in technology as it transitions, they're going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm a senior. I know I may not look like one, but I'm definitely getting very close to my 60s, so I want to make sure that my counterparts and the seniors that are in our community also have the availability to know what technology is going to do for them now. So that was all to say. Stay tuned. It's coming. We're making the connections. Thank you, Vice Mayor, for assisting me in that process.
Excellent. Thank you. Hello.
Good morning, council members. My name is Taylor Behar, and I am 15 years old. I am also here in support of micro schools, and I wanted to come so you guys could see what a product of school choice looks like. I was homeschooled my entire life, and I'm very grateful that I now live in a town where it is very supported. I grew up in Glendale, Arizona, and I was very much made fun of by other kids for being homeschooled, but I could not be more grateful for it, because now I'm 15 years old, I have a job, I'm being prepared for college, I'm going to go to private school in the fall, and I have a very bright future. And the reason I wanted to come up here and speak today, even though so many people have come up, is because I cannot stress how important school choice is for our children. I think public schools are crucial, and I don't think it's a matter of whether public schools are good or whether charter schools are good or whether public school teachers are adequate. I don't think that matters in the conversation of school choice. All that matters is that every single child is different, and that cookie cutter education and the same education for every child simply cannot work. And it might get a 90% success rate or a 95% success rate, but that is simply not good enough. The only thing that is good enough for the children of the city of Maricopa is 100% success. And the only way we can give them every opportunity to succeed is by giving them every opportunity to succeed. So I thank you for your support of school choice. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, would anyone else like to approach the podium on any topic? Okay, seeing none, we'll close the call to the public. At this time, we'll move to consent agenda, which this evening we have items 7.1 through 7.3. I have no speaker cards. And so, council members, do you have comments, questions, concerns, anything that you need to discuss at this point? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve this consent agenda? So moved by
Second.
Vice Mayor Learman and seconded by Councilmember Marsh. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. That'll take us to the regular agenda or public hearings, of which we have one agenda item, 8.1. It's a presentation from Chief Patassi. Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, members of council, City Manager Bitters, staff, and visitors. Appreciate the opportunity to come up today and boast about the department. 2023, we'll be going over a year in review. This is a preview of the actual document that we'll be releasing within the next week or so that will be published on our website. But I just want to take a very high-level look at what the department accomplished in 2023 and a little bit of sneak peek of what we're currently doing and forecast to do for this following year as well. So starting off with the statistics. So we are running a lot of calls in the city at the end of the day. So last year we ran 6,100 calls, and we see that we're focusing on where that call distribution is taking place in Ladder 571, Ladder Tender 571, the units based out of Station 571 at Porter and Smith Inc. is getting very busy. Last year they ran 2,300 calls. The distribution of our calls with the other three stations was relatively stable, but we're seeing those numbers climb in areas that traditionally haven't been that busy. For instance, Engine 572 has traditionally been one of our slower stations, and now we see that they're right up there in the mix with the other stations as well, with all that growth out to the east. Our calls of service every year continue to climb. They dipped a little bit in 2022 as expected, but last year we're back on that trajectory, and we're anticipating the same amount of roughly a 10% estimated call volume increase year over year going forward as well. So this is what we're building all of our 10-year plans on. So as all the other departments in the city have, we have our 10-year capital improvement plan, a 10-year staffing plan, and we're really using this data to have some very high-level conversations of our needs going forward in the future. But we see we're pretty consistent. One of the areas I like to also highlight is our average response time. And response time can be tricky, but it's impacted by multiple factors. And one of them is transportation and roadway and infrastructure change. And so as we see our roads improving, our lights being fit with the preemption to get our fire trucks through the intersections a lot quicker, a direct impact on patient care and patient outcome. So as we keep investing, and we're all for investing, we don't like traffic as much as anybody else, we're going to start seeing some of these response times go down, as long as we have the appropriate resources to meet that, because our demand will continue to increase over the next few years. So, and again, this message is about consistency. So we are a very stable community. We don't have a massive influx of winter residents, and that's reflected in our EMS calls and our calls for service. We're pretty standard 400, 500 calls a month, regardless of the time of year, which just leads to the impact and the pressure that we're getting in our EMS service. And then over on the right-hand side of this, we look at our top calls for service. I really like to highlight the sick person call. A lot of the other calls, like the chest pain, the traumatic injuries, heart problems, cardiac arrests, all start sometimes early on in the event. So I like to give a lot of credit to the community for recognizing signs that somebody's in distress, calling early, even if they don't know what's going on. Hey, this person appears sick, or my loved one is sick or injured. It's that early recognition of the symptom, that early activation of the 911 response, which is leading to better patient outcomes as well. So I like to just highlight that, because it's usually a good sign that the community is very well engaged in what's going on. So last year was a big year for developing training, and I spoke at the Citizens Leadership Academy to the up-and-coming leaders of this community, and I said, hey, at what point do you think we started training for high-rise, mid-rise, so buildings between 4 and 7 stories, and apartment, multifamily dwellings? And it ranged from we haven't yet to for a little bit of time. And actually, I'd like to stand here and say we've been preparing for this since 2007 when we joined the automatic aid system. Our training, these 3,300 hours, we're actually building on that every year. We created a new position this year. We have a captain that's now in charge of administrative services and training. And so we're really dialing in not only on volume, but quality. How are we preparing our firefighters to be successful during the day? And that's reflected with the leadership of Captain Jackson now heading that office. But we're an all-risk, all-hazards department. We're not just EMTs and paramedics that deal with medical calls. We're not just firefighters that put out fire. We're also dealing with swift water rescues in some of our more rural areas of our response. We deal with natural gas and hazardous material responses. And sometimes we deal with technical rescues as well, and set up the scene for the technical rescue specialists to come into town. But we have to be ready, and preparation is key. And my hat's off to the men and women of the department last year for doing an exceptional job. One of the other elements of a great fire department is also fire prevention, right? It's one thing to have the operations and the response capabilities, but it's even better if we're preparing our community for success in preventing the need to call 911. So Eddie, our fire inspector, fire marshal, has been going out, working with the team in development services and code enforcement as well, and they're conducting these inspections. You will see this number rise in our next report as well. We've reformatted how we're going to be approaching these, and we're building in a little bit more technology and better efficiencies so we can get a better snapshot of the community as well. And community outreach. We developed a new department. We call it Community Risk Reduction Specialist. We have Daniel in there now, new employee doing exceptional work out in the community, hit the ground running with only a few months on the job. So last year, we had 14 fire station visits, we had some city events, and only 2 school visits. That's not enough, and that's not acceptable. And so we're changing that. So with Daniel and through his leadership, he's already reached out to the school districts, looking at starting to bring back our Fire Pals program, which is elementary school fire life safety education. Because once we target the children, they become force multipliers. We want them to go home and talk to their families about, hey, Mom, what is our evacuation plan? Who do we call? What is our address? The basic fundamentals to building a very durable community, and it always starts with the children. So our numbers are already well above this for this year, and there's a lot more to come in this year going forward. And then one of our most proud parts of our department is our volunteerism and our Fire Corps volunteers. Just an incredibly talented group of individuals who dedicated their time to the fire department. And the Fire Corps volunteers do a whole array of different activities, from providing, in essence, really life-saving rehabilitation on fire scenes. When the firefighters are out there in 120-degree heat, we have volunteers out there providing shelter and food and water and hydration resources that have a direct impact on the success of the incident from our standpoint. They do it for training. They're doing it. It's a program of pride for them that's been incredibly well done. They're also very prominent now in community events. So they're a very outward-facing part of the department and part of the city, and they're engaging in life safety education. They're now coming into the schools to help with the Fire Pals program. We have newer volunteers that have 20-plus years, decades of experience teaching senior fall prevention programs. All these other components that we're now pulling together and building the framework and infrastructure to have these sound, repeatable, continuous programs going on into the future. And we have an incredible group of volunteers that donated 4,100 hours to the city last year, which is remarkable. And then at the end of the day, we're dealing with firefighters. We're dealing with men and women on the front lines of our community, dealing with a lot of stressful events. And so mental health and their wellness has been a priority for this department and for the city, through the city manager's office as well. And in 2023, we put money where our mouth is. So we created a health and safety officer. Captain Jay Evans assumed that role, and since December has just done incredible work. So we work with our organizational health coordinator as well. We brought in mental health programs for the firefighters, a Heal the Heroes program that does neurofeedback that has been remarkable. We are providing support after critical incidents and calls. Firefighters are getting calls immediately when we find out that they're on a fatality accident or an issue with a child, which is always very traumatic to the responders. We're now being very proactive in reaching out. At first, not always the most warmest welcome, we're fine. And what we're seeing now is they're now coming to us as well to say, you know what, I need help. And we're saying, thank you, here's all these resources. It's a potpourri of resources. There's no one size fits all in mental health, and that's the exact same in the fire service. But through Captain Evans' leadership and the support of the city and everybody, we're really making great strides. He's doing post-accident reviews. We're getting very heavily involved, obviously, in cancer screening, which is near and dear to my heart. Injury prevention, how these injuries are occurring, and then more importantly, what can we do to prevent them and not go down that road? And then how can we mitigate all the risks that the firefighters are facing? We can't be a zero-risk environment. That's just not realistic. But we can be very educated and very practical on how we're approaching a very dangerous job. And that has had a profound impact as well. And then last year, we had a lot of fun stuff. And we brought in a lot of new technology. And so we now have a tethered drone. This is an incredible piece of technology that doesn't require a pilot's license like a traditional unmanned aerial aircraft. So the idea and our use for this is crews respond to a house fire. The battalion chief in the command vehicle has an incident safety officer that's partnered up. That incident safety officer takes this photo kite, puts it in the front lawn of the house, for instance, and sends it up. And as long as it has power, it can be in the air indefinitely. So we now have eyes in the sky. We have infrared. We can look at where people are located in the buildings, smoke conditions, building changes, and then we can leave it up through the night. So as we always have firefighters on fire watch to make sure we don't have a rekindle, which is the last thing we ever want, we now have the ability to now have technology really confirming that all the hot spots are out and that building's in good shape before we turn it over to a restoration company. We've used it to monitor traffic on the 347. And so we have a lot of different use for it, partnered with our partners over in the police department who have the piloted drones. We work in partnership with them as well, so we can really now have the right tool for the right job. So incredible resource, very exciting for us to have as well. And we're all doing this with an incredible staff. So last year we reorganized our administration. We're really looking about how are we going to establish a fire department for the future. It's not enough just to be focused on what we're dealing with today, but where's our structure in 20 years going to be? You know, what impact are we going to have now? So our philosophy is we have to lay a solid foundation and not build a house of cards. And so we did that. Our first step was a reorg. And so these are 5 new members of our administration that's working in the office, and they're all doing an exceptional job. Very passionate, from community risk reduction to our EMS coordinator. Allison Welsh is doing an amazing job getting us ready for our CON. Steve in logistics, supporting both police, fire, and emergency management. Jay as a health and wellness captain, and then Captain Jackson coming in at training and focusing on that. So we really appreciate everybody stepping up and coming on board. And it was a big year for promotions. Our biggest year, I believe, we've ever had for promotions, at least that I can remember being with the department. 16 members were promoted. It is a highlight of a fire department to be able to hire and promote from within. And we were successfully able to do that. And all the credit goes to all the individuals in these pictures. That is dedication to training, mastery of your craft, sacrificing your time on your days off to do study sessions and work groups. Promoting in the fire service is not easy. These aren't gimme jobs. We don't promote on seniority. We don't promote because you're the popular person. It's hard work and ethic. And as we raise the bar in our organization, our promotional processes will continue to get tougher and tougher. They should be. But what we're seeing this year is our scores in the gaps shrunk. So we have now, if you're in the high 90s, odds are you're going to be competitive to get promoted. Before, it wasn't always like that. But as we're bringing more in, and Captain Jackson is focused on professional development as well, it's a task that we've assigned. What is the roadmap to promote, and how can we get people aligned with that? And so this is a reflection of the infancy of our program over the next couple of years, especially with the amount of retirements that we're going to have. We're really laying the foundation of what a successful promotional process. So hats off, everybody we have a new assistant chief, to the engineers, which is the first step of promotion, and in between. Extremely proud of everybody, grateful for their families that supported them through this journey, and it's just been a very exciting time for that. And then we had the opportunity to bring on new firefighters as well. So we were able to hire new firefighters this year, and then hire the administrative staff as well. And these firefighters are coming in and hitting the ground running. Some of the firefighters, Alberto Ariola, for instance, came into admin a month out of the academy, came into admin, pitched a good idea that we'll talk about in a minute, and we've enacted it. We've actually rolled it out in partnership with the police department as well. And these are men and women having a significant impact from day one. And that's exactly who we need to be hiring. Those that are capable to hit the ground running. And we're doing very, very well with that. So with that being said, I do recognize it's now June, so we're halfway through 24. I'll give you a little bit of behind the curtain sneak peek of what we've been doing. So the first thing is we're still working incredibly hard to get our CON. So really exciting news with that, bringing in Allison as our EMS coordinator, who has experience both at Queen Creek and Gilbert, 2 jurisdictions that had ambulance services, and spending 10 years at Arizona Department of Health Services. She's been very important in working with city staff as well. Finance is involved, and in Ben's office, obviously, and working with our deputy city manager, Micah. This is it involves everybody. And so we're really laying the foundation to be able to put that CON application, submit that very, very soon. We have an apparatus committee, very passionate about how we design apparatus. They did an incredible job working on the new engine 572, which is about to hit the production line. Unfortunately, these units are about 870-day build times. So we will eventually see it. I'm very excited about it. I just can't wait to actually touch it. But that's going to hit the production line very soon. So we're excited about that. The apparatus committee is also compiling data, going to other Valley fire departments, talking to vendors, and they're starting to spec out our ambulances as well. And so they're going through that design process right now, and we'll be able to make recommendations on purchase coming soon by the beginning of July. So we're very excited about that. Community risk reduction and the work that Daniel's been doing, you're going to see us more in the community. You're gonna have much more impact on and see more of fire department personnel, volunteers out, really trying to move the needle and make a difference. And we're already seeing that within the first 6 months of this year. I'm very excited to see what the next 6 months will be. And then back to that card from one of our youngest firefighters. So we've launched what we're calling the Good Samaritan card. And this is a business card that when there is an act of intervention by a Good Samaritan in the community, if somebody does CPR, if somebody is on scene of a bad car accident or a traumatic event, the first thing we want to do is thank them. Thank you. It's easy to drive by. It's easy to turn your head. It's easier to just say somebody else will worry about it, but that's not who we are as a city. So we see that. So this card first starts with a thank you. More importantly, it is a link to resources because traumatic events impact everybody. And so we know it's very traumatic to do CPR. It's traumatic for us and we do it professionally. And so when members of the community are stepping up as Good Samaritans, and we recognize it, we see it, or we even hear about it, we're going to be able to provide them resources. It's a link, goes right to the city website, and our organizational health coordinator, Captain Evans, and some professionals, medical professionals, have vetted these resources for them. So it may not be that day, 2 days, 3 days later, a month later, you have resources that you'll be able to reach out to and just get help if you need help or questions about grief or anxiety or whatever can come at the result. So it's another way for the city to reach out to the community and take care of the needs in the community as well. So very, very excited about that. Most importantly, like I said before, this is a young firefighter that just joined the department, bringing ideas to the table, and we jump on them. So, it's that collaborative process that good ideas aren't dependent on rank or title. They're good ideas. And so having the ability to be able to act on those with the support of the city is great as well. And we have more coming down the pipe. I don't want to steal all the thunder for next year, but it's been a great year for the department. The annual report will have much more detail in it. It's going to be launched, if not this week, it'll be next week on our website. Monica will be able to get that squared away from us. So I stand in front of you, a very proud fire chief, very proud of the men and women that serve this city every day, and very grateful for the city for allowing us the support to do that, from starting at the council and the mayor and Ben's office and all of the directors I work with. We're in it together, and we feel it. Every department touches the fire department in the city, and we feel it, and we appreciate it. So with that, I'm open to any
Chief
questions.
Chief thank you very much. That was a great presentation. Yes.
Thank you.
I do want to say I've been going around bragging on the police department because last year they hired 18 police officers. And now I have opportunity to brag on the fire department and all that you guys are doing with hiring 11, all in December. For those that you don't know, hiring police and fire actually has been quite challenging, hasn't it? And you joined together with HR to figure out a process for really connecting with people. I mean, that's a huge success. I'm so proud of you, and I'll be bragging about you guys as well. Thank you. I'm also very thankful that you're taking care of our firefighters. The whole mental aspect of it is so important. We need to take care of them. They're critical to our organization. And I love the fact that the firefighters and the organization is then giving back to the community in so many ways. I love the growth there. I think it's really important.
Absolutely.
I have a couple curiosity things. So the preemption, did I say that right? Preemptive
Yes.
signalization?
Yep.
I'm really curious what the status of that is, and tell us just a little bit about that, because I find that
So
it's super important, and I want to know
Oh,
more.
very important, and it's critical. And so what preemption is it's generically called Opticom system. And so on fire trucks, there's a light that emits a signal to the traffic signals. When it captures a fire truck approaching an intersection, it turns the fire truck's direction of travel green, and all of the other lights in that intersection red. So it's clear as a safe corridor for the firefighters as well as all the other drivers on the road. So we were able to complete the 347.
Nice.
So up and down the 347, and then slowly working with Keith Brown in Public Works, they're working on getting all of the other roads caught up as well.
Nice, fantastic.
In the streetlights.
How
yes.
far in advance does it recognize a fire truck?
I don't know exactly.
I just
but
had
it,
one
but it's,
pass
it's
me.
pretty
It's pretty far.
Pretty far. It's
I was
pretty
really
far.
impressed. And is that ambulances also?
Some ambulances.
Some
Our ambulances will have them.
Okay, for sure.
For sure.
And then the tether, I'm just curious, how far up? I mean,
So
what
it
fits
can-
into that box in terms of a tether?
So
How
it can
far
go up to 150 feet.
Oh, nice.
So, and sometimes it gets to 175,
All right.
which is more than enough.
All
But we
right.
can also launch it from the top of buildings.
Yeah.
It's very portable. It just needs power. And then
Pretty
we can keep it
exciting.
up.
Pretty exciting. Council, what other comments, questions do you have? Yes, we'll start with Councilmember Gettle. I made him wait till last.
Oh, thank you, Mayor.
Yeah.
Chief Patassi, I just cannot thank you and the men and women of your department enough for not only what you accomplished this last year, but the level of service that you bring to the residents of our city. We truly have some of the finest firefighters and medical personnel in our team, so I just want to really express that gratitude to you. Also, just publicly state that you have my undying devotion if there's anything that I can do to help you and your department clear some hurdles and move things forward. And we just pride ourselves as a city building a safe and prosperous community. And our fire and our police are two of the biggest players in helping our residents to have that as their reality. So again, just thank you, and just know that I have your back and in your corner. If there's anything I can do, please let us know.
Thank you very much. And I think you make a great point too. It's what makes Maricopa very unique. A lot of things make us unique. The partnership between police and fire is outstanding. And I know it starts at the top. However, Chief Goodman and I can have the best relationship in the world, but if that's not felt on the street where it matters, then it's all for naught. And we're fortunate in both organizations. I have a ton of respect for Chief Goodman. Very excited that he came to the city. But that trickle effect all the way down, we're seeing that in the streets, and that's critically important to taking care of our residents.
Yeah, thank you very much, Chief.
You're welcome.
Thank you very much, Councilmember Gettle. Councilmember Marsh.
Yeah, first, Chief, what he said. Yeah. But I had a personal experience with your team. In February, they rescued me along with the Vice Mayor and Councilmember Gettle and transported me successfully with a broken leg. And I can walk again, thanks to your team. So, yeah, I'm one of your statistics.
Thank you. Not for being a statistic, but thank
Yeah.
you. Yeah. We'll avoid that in 24.
Thank you, Councilmember Marsh. Councilmember Wade.
Yeah, Chief, you know how I feel about you. You're a great guy, and you do have a great department that you work with. It makes it easier. But I have to be a little selfish and point out one person, that's Daniel. You talked around him a little bit, but the fact that you listened and paid attention to ideas that a younger, non-officer person in your department shows what kind of class you have, that you go where the best is, and recognizing Daniel for that purpose, for that
at being somebody that does listen, does pay attention, does offer advice, and is excited about what he does because he's getting recognized for that. So thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Wade. Vice Mayor Lehrman.
Thank you for a great presentation, and I just want to congratulate the 16 individuals that were promoted this year. That's quite a bit of leadership and growth, and so that just caught my eye, and congratulations to all of them.
They worked hard. They deserve it. Thank you.
Very much.
Yeah, thank you, Vice Mayor. Councilmember Noor.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, I just wanted to thank you and your department for everything you do. And I had the opportunity to visit all of the stations during EMS week. And it just so happened when I was at the busiest station, a member of our community came in to thank the firefighters there for helping him in an accident that had occurred and for the care they gave him. And it was just so great. We joked that it was staged while I was there, but it wasn't staged. A member of the community, on their own effort, came into the fire station because the service and the professionalism and the care that your department showed was so overwhelming that he felt he needed to come back and personally thank them. And that's just a testament to you and your leadership and the amazing staff and firefighters that you have working for you. So I just wanted to make sure that was known. Thank you.
Thank you so much. We have incredible firefighters. I'm so proud of them.
Councilmember Manfredi.
Thanks again. You do a great job. Your whole staff does a great job. All our firefighters are wonderful, and you know it's always good to have that, especially when you need it. Can you expand a little bit on the new station that we're going to be putting in down south, as well as the ambulance service, and just explain the time frame for that?
The new station going down south. So from the fire department standpoint, we are starting to look at design, starting to look at the contracts. We are putting together our staffing models and plans. We are getting as prepared as we can at the department level. And then we make the recommendations up to Ben and the executive team, and then they balance the timing of it. We know we're committed to that area. We're down there. I just drove it the other day. We have resources down there doing area familiarization and sizing that up. But from a fire department standpoint, we have our staffing models. We have our staffing plan. We have our design team in place. We haven't gone down the road of architects or whatnot, but we're ready, and we're just working with Ben and the executive team on the timing of when that'll be a reality.
And we are responding to calls already down there.
We are, correct.
Thank you.
And you also asked about the ambulance.
Oh, and the ambulance service.
Ambulance service is moving very well. We had the opportunity to get feedback from the state on our initial application. It was a draft and cursory review, and there was incredible feedback on our first draft. Comments of, it was one of the best applications they've seen so far. So we're just waiting. We're going to bring an attorney on board, and she's very, very successful in this. And we're going to go follow her guidance on the path moving forward as truly the project manager for moving this forward. So we're extremely excited to have the support from that, and we'll be going through pretty quick.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And on the ambulance service, when you mentioned earlier, and you just mentioned it again, that you have looked at and are including experts in who have done this before. The thing I hate the most is when you go into a new program and you hire somebody that's just not up to par. And so to hear you say that we're hiring experts who have done this successfully and spending the money to make sure it's a perfect system, I really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
It's too important.
It's too important.
It is too important. You can't do this 95%.
Absolutely.
And so we have the right people sitting around the table, and there's a lot of leadership within the city because CON touches finance and public, it touches everybody. So we have put a great team together that's going to take it across the goal line.
That's excellent. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Any additional comments? Thank you for your presentation. And that brings us to the end of our meeting. Thank you all for staying.